Good morning. We are in the kitchen now with Chef Mark McKinney. He is from the UT Medical Center Healthy Living Kitchen, and today we are talking Thanksgiving, right?
We are.
Okay, so a gluten-free, low-fat stuffing.
Right.
I call it dressing.
Either way.
You know, Southern thing.
Dress it, stuff it, eat it. It's all good.
Yummy. All made of cornbread.
That's right.
Okay, so a lot of people these days have this gluten allergy.
Right.
So it's really common for people to need this.
Sure. You know, celiac or gluten sensitivity is basically an allergy to the protein and the gluten. So it affects different people on different levels. But if you have celiac or you're looking at reducing the amount of gluten that you put in your diet, there are a lot of good options out there. So what we've done is we had this low-fat stuffing recipe already, or dressing recipe, and we just made one substitution. We took out the regular flour, and for what I'm using today, and there's lots on the market, this is Bob's Red Mill. It's a 1-to-1 baking flour. It's gluten-free. Works really well, so we just substituted this for the regular flour. But when you make the cornbread, it's cornmeal and flour, and we use egg whites instead of whole eggs. We use a trans fat-free margarine instead of butter, things along those lines to make the basic cornbread with a little bit of sugar. We don't really put any salt in it, and that's on the recipe that'll be on the website. And then when it comes out, we kind of have our cornbread, and there's some corn in here too. If you want to do that, you can. So, you know, to make the stuffing part, you just take the cornbread, and then here we want to add vegetables wherever we can.
Right.
So we have Swiss chard, celery, onions, all sautéed together in here with a little bit of a no salt added vegetable broth. This goes in the bowl. All right.
So cornbread is naturally gluten-free because it's cornmeal.
Well, cornmeal is naturally gluten-free, but when you make cornbread, you add flour to it.
Okay,
so we're
we
substituting the flour.
Sorry, okay,
right.
got it.
So egg white goes in. We're going to do a little bit of seasoning. We have some fennel seed here. We have a little crushed red pepper if you like the spice, which is always nice. And it's not a lot. This isn't really a spicy cornbread. It just gives it some little subtle characteristics. A little salt and pepper, and you know, there's nothing wrong with salt and pepper in moderation. Typically, I tell people don't buy, if you're going to buy the pre-made culinary stocks and stuff like that, get the unsalted.
Okay.
Not the low salt, because that just means it's lower than the really high salt, but get the unsalted, and then you can salt and pepper and whatever and control it yourself. So this all gets mixed up.
So those vegetables add a little kick.
Yeah, and it's you know, we're looking to add nutritional value wherever we can. Even though this is gluten-free, we've made it healthier by cutting the cholesterol, cutting the sodium. We're adding vegetables, things like that. Gluten-free doesn't mean healthy. Gluten-free just means no gluten.
Yeah.
But for people with those issues, you know, it can be a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So
you baked yours in a muffin tin.
Yeah, and you can do different things with this. I did a class yesterday, and we did little hors d'oeuvres where I used the mini muffin tins, and we put turkey and cranberry sauce on top of it.
Oh, cute.
And did it like little hors d'oeuvres. But you can do it in the pan and just do it home style, buffet style, whatever, or just take your mix, put it in the pan. You're going to pop it in the oven for about 15 minutes or so. You know, if I was at home, I'd just be doing this with my fingers, but I'm not going to do that here. So it usually goes a little bit smoother. Depending on how big they are, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. If it's a big pan, longer. If they're little bitty ones, a little bit shorter. And then you can see here, we just plated up our finished product. Oh, I did forget one thing because we're running through. A little bit of chicken broth goes in to wet it down. All right, or vegetable broth, whichever you like. That goes in. And then this is a lean turkey breast. All right, we don't want the dark meat. We want the lighter meat, leaner, less fat. We've got some sautéed greens. I just did a little homemade cranberry gel to go on the side, and some wood ear mushrooms. So,
all right, well, that's all we have time for. Great way to incorporate into Thanksgiving.